Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Thursday, August 1st, and we're here answering your financial questions. Now, if you've got one, it's very easy. All you need to do, go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us a note, and if you want to join us live, just check the box. Mark does everything else. He's the king of all things Jill on Money and also all things podcasting and also the web. And by the way, he also is responsible for the free weekly newsletter, which comes out every Friday. You must subscribe. Also, on the website, don't forget to check out the YouTube show, Jill on Money, powered by The Compound. And that is a lot of fun. It's been really interesting to see what really does well on YouTube versus what does well here in the podcast world. Okay, let's go to our listener. We got Paulie Walnuts on the line from Florida. Paul is really his name. We called him Paulie Walnuts. Welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Oh, wonderful to be here with the King and Queen.
That's right.
Thank you for having me, Your Royal Highnesses.
Oh, it is such a pleasure. So, Paul, what's going on? How can we help you?
I'm a do-it-yourselfer with respect to financial planning, and I'm 66 years old.
Okay.
And retirement is coming up on me pretty quickly, so I wanted to do some portfolio housekeeping as I transition into retirement.
How quickly is retirement coming up?
Could be a couple of months. I don't think it would go much beyond next spring.
Okay. All right. That's 3 to 6 months, basically.
Yeah, maybe more, maybe less.
Okay.
Once you leave the workforce, there's almost no going back. So I'm a little bit reluctant to bail out, if you will.
All right. Well, let's make sure that you don't have to go back. If you wanted to go back, that would be different. I just interviewed some guy down in Tampa who had to go back to work. That is not a pleasant thing when you're 70 something and you have to go back to work because you're like, whoops, I kind of undersaved for this thing called retirement. So tell us a little bit about what's going on for you. Are you single, married, partnered?
I'm single.
Okay.
No heirs. So that kind of takes a lot of the legacy issues off of the table.
Okay.
I've been a real good saver over the past 15 years or so. Always maxing out the 401k contributions and the Roths and stuff like that. In terms of income, I currently make about 115 from salary and bonuses. And last year, the interest and dividends on my taxable accounts were about 20 grand.
So it's like income 115 plus 20 grand of dividends and interest?
Yeah, that was for 2023.
Okay. Did you spend that money or you bank it?
I have a hard time spending money. I'm a frugal, you know what?
You know what? We're gonna help you a little bit. I do think I want you to enjoy yourself. Let's go through what you have accumulated because you said you're a good saver. So You have pre-tax money, a 401k or an IRA. What's pre-tax?
Just under 890K.
Okay, that's great. Okay, what about in Roth assets?
About 255K.
A taxable brokerage account.
Putting it all together between the brokerage account, a couple of savings and checking accounts, Treasury Direct savings bonds and what have you, about 865K.
Yowza. That's a lot of money. Will you be entitled to any pension benefit when you retire?
Yeah, there's a couple of accounts in that I have the opportunity to annuitize and one that I must annuitize.
How much has to be annuitized of the 890?
I have a TIAA retirement account of about $95,000.
And it must be annuitized because you're on the TIAA side, not the CREF side?
Yeah, I'm a former employee of TIAA. They funded it. It's their rules. So, if it's free money and it comes with strings, it's free money and it comes with strings. So you just got to play the game.
TIAA 94 has to be annuitized. What else is out there that could be annuitized?
All right. In my present employer, there's something called a cash balance. Cash balance retirement plan where they fund it at separation, or when I retire, I can either take it as a lump sum and roll it into my other, IRAs and what have you, or I can take that as an annuity. And checking the figures that they provide, if I annuitize, I'm looking at about a 9% payout, which is
my God.
Yeah. That was my reaction.
Oh, I love that.
The one interesting aspect to this particular plan is I'm allowed to do a one-time roll into that cash balance plan from my 401k if I wanted to annuitize more dollars. And that's,
hold on a second. How much would that be as like the rest of the 401k?
oh, I don't think I'd do all of it.
Okay.
But what I have to work with is, let's see, in that account, I have about $487,000 that I can either roll in all or part of it. But candidly, once I retire, I want to consolidate my accounts into just a Vanguard, just to make it easier to manage.
Before we get into like those quick questions there, what do you feel is the spending need for you going forward in retirement? Like, I know you're not spending a lot of money. I get it. But if you think about, I want to have a good life. I'm 66. I'll try to spend some more money. I've got a bunch of money already. That's like $2 million, right? Like, what do you think you would like to be able to spend?
That's one of the challenges that I'm going to have is to, just to make that crossover from saver to spender. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who's ever told you that.
Yeah, sure.
But looking at what my take home was, with those large 401k contributions and what have you, and what's ever left over kind of gets accumulated into the brokerage account. I'm only spending like about 50 grand a year. And the other thing is I just recently moved to Florida.
Okay.
So I'm getting used to the new cost of living here. So I don't have a real solid handle on it. It's a little bit more expensive than where I came from.
Okay. But let's say it's, even if you were saying it's 60 grand a year, let's say it's 60 grand a year,
right?
After tax, right? So let's use that 5 grand a month. I think that's kind of like a safe-ish thing, because you're not going to go to spend like 100 grand if you're only spending 50. You know what I mean? Like that's an unrealistic expectation. But 60, maybe you're going to have a good time and that's going to be fun. And
the envelope was, all right, maybe I'll do 75K, and even with that, that's going to be like,
it'll be hard for you.
Yeah.
I understand. Do you own a home?
Yeah, I just bought a home here back in March. So the value of the home is about $300K, and I have a mortgage of $150K at 4.5%.
Oh, you snuck in, didn't you?
Well, the builder bought down the rate.
That's great. And that's 4.5% forever, or he built the builder for a couple of years?
30-year fixed at 4.5%.
Wow. Great deal. Great. Okay. And that 60 or 75 grand a year, that you are including your mortgage in that, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, everything.
Okay. So if you were to annuitize the TIAA right now, what's the amount that would be annuitized? Like the monthly amount, do you think?
That's what I got to do more research on, because their website is a little bit challenging. I'll be kind and put it that way.
Okay.
And the more I look into it, it might not necessarily have to be annuitized as income. I might be able to transfer that into an IRA.
Okay, because what I had understood about TIAA in the annuity side is that they will allow you to annuitize straight up, and
Correct.
They also will allow you to put 10% a year into the CREF side. I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I got to do more homework there, but they have something called a transfer payout annuity.
Yeah.
Where it's 10 payments over 9 years. You get a payment on day one, and then for the next 9 anniversaries, you get another payment.
So I'm not even saying you should. I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Correct.
How would you feel if? Last question before I ask you, how do you feel? Social Security. Are you going to wait till 70? I presume.
Like I said before, I'm a do-it-yourselfer, and I kind of go back and forth on that one, because in the brokerage account, I do have some unrealized capital gains of about 240 grand. Of that 240 grand, about 40 grand is in precious metal ETFs, so that gain would be taxed as ordinary income. My base case when I wrote you guys was I was going to claim at full retirement age, which would be starting in January of 2025.
No, claim at 70 and take the gains when you're making no money for the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's the other part that I was going back and forth.
Definitely.
Like, Paul, I don't need it. I said to myself, hey, I don't need it. I got plenty of cash in the brokerage account.
Yeah.
Play with the Roth conversions to fill up the lower tax.
Or even
bracket.
not necessarily. I'm not saying you should do that, but I think that you can. So between 67 and 70, I think you take any sort of big gains that you have like that is income to you. Okay. And then what you could do is you could just start taking some money out. You can do a Roth conversion. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying that you may not have to, because
Correct.
if you get this money, if you start the clock, let's just say that you take the money from TIAA, okay? And when do you have to start annuitizing that?
That would be at the required minimum distribution age. That would be age 73.
I'm wondering if we should try to get that out sooner, because, you know, you could start taking that out sooner than later, get the money out, and then use the lump sum buy-in with that 9% delicious payout and start that so that it coincides with your RMDs and let that satisfy your RMDs.
I'm not quite sure I followed you, because my initial thought was, yeah, just roll in like about a grand total of about 200 grand into that 9% payout.
But do you have to start the clock on that 9% payout today, or can you delay it? That's what I'm asking.
I think I have 150 days to roll in the funds. But once you start, it's either like, hey, are you going to let it ride and it accumulates at the 10-year Treasury or 3%, whichever is greater. You know, so it's like letting it ride. Yeah, that's the 45 grand current balance.
Right.
But once I throw that switch, that's when the monthly checks would start.
Okay, I got you. Okay. I was sort of hoping that we could delay the monthly checks until RMD, but you can't. That's what I was sort of hoping.
Well, yeah,
for.
I could. It's just that, you know.
You won't get that 9% though. Like, we'll have to aren't we at the whims of the marketplace at that point?
Exactly, because I looked at that a couple of years ago when the 10-year Treasury was in the 2s and the payouts were like in the 6s.
No, this is the time to do it. So this is the time to do it, for sure.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. Yeah,
and in fact, I mean, you don't have to, I mean, I don't know. You said that there's 487,000. I would probably, the only downside of this is you don't have the money, right?
Correct.
Okay. So maybe what we would do is we would take 250, put it in there, find out what the actual dollar amount is that you would receive on a monthly basis. And then what you might want to do is, I don't know, when we figure out the monthly amount, maybe you'll make a decision to yes or no annuitize TIAA. Maybe it's yes. And those are your two basic streams of income for the next 3.5 years, right? Till you get to age 70. Then you claim Social Security, right? And what you would probably do, I mean, you don't have to, because we're going to take a big chunk of this money from your pre-tax, right? The 250 that goes in. So we would have 350 of your 890 that is tied up, creating income, and you're getting out of there. And then you could start to slowly convert, you know, but you're in, just look at this right now. It's a great time to do it, by the way, when you're in Florida. Right now, you're in the highest bracket is 24%. You're probably not going to go below that, man. I don't see you making less than 100 grand. I don't know. Like, like when all the dollars start coming in and dividends and interest, like what you would do is you would convert up to the top of the 24% bracket, which for right now for a single is 191, just under 192,000. So then you would slowly convert, but not much more than that. I wouldn't do it all at once. And when you're converting in the next few years, that would suggest that the money that's in savings, checking, and brokerage, some of that has to actually stay pretty boring in terms of your asset allocation. So I know that's what you called.
It already is boring.
So let's talk about that.
The asset allocation in the brokerage account?
Yes.
In the taxable sleeve.
Yes, let's look at that one.
All right. Cash of $271K.
Okay. Is there anything I need that cash for real?
Not really.
No car, no nothing, right?
No. You know,
okay.
My car's in good shape.
Okay.
I got ultra short-term bonds of just under 200K. So between the cash and the short-term bonds, I'm looking at about 469.
That's a lot.
Is that sufficiently boring?
Yeah, that is. What else?
Equities are about 339, 340.
Okay.
And then I got the precious metal ETFs that are about 58K, and those have had a big run up.
Yeah, I would take my money off the table with those for sure.
Yeah,
as soon as you stop.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking, doing that, next year.
Yeah.
I'm totally in Florida next year.
How would you feel? I want to ask you a real question. I know that you like cash. It makes you feel good. Okay.
I like it better when it's paying 4 or 5%.
Right. So it's going to start to not.
Right.
And so how would you feel about rolling some of the ultra short into intermediate term bond fund?
That thought has crossed my mind quite a bit. So
I think for someone who's risk averse, which you are, and you have plenty of money and you're not going to run out of money and you're going to be great. You're going to have an amazing retirement. Okay.
I don't think I'm risk averse. I think, because if I look at everything, I'm risk averse in the taxable, but when I look at the other ones, one of the things that I really look at is what's my equity allocation across the various sleeves. This is something that I kind of look at on a regular basis just to kind of parse out my accounts, break it into the asset classes. I'm looking at the Roth. I'm at 62% equities. I'm looking at my I also have an HSA I didn't tell you about. That's about 43.
But wait a second. Give me do you have the whole allocation for all accounts?
Equities were 48%.
Okay.
Cash was 22%.
Yeah.
Bonds were 18.3%.
Yep.
Precious metals 2.8%.
Yep.
And the stable value was 8.9%.
You're still overly allocated to cash at this moment. And
True.
The bond position, I think you just need to. I don't have a problem with having, some money in your taxable account that's available, because you're going to need some of this cash when you do your conversions, right? We're going to need to actually pay some taxes, right? Uh-huh. And I think the only change that I would suggest right now is from that ultra short to go into an intermediate term, because
get a little bit more coupon.
That's right. That's exactly right. And you don't have a state income tax in Florida, so you don't have to worry about that. So, I think rock and roll. You're in a great situation. Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to let you go. But what I want you to do is find out two things for me, okay? Number one, I want to know, what will your TIAA payment be if you annuitize? And then the number two is, if you were going to retire tomorrow and we took $250,000 from your cash balance retirement and did the buy-in, I want to know what that amount is going to be. Okay. So $250 roll in, TIAA. I want those two numbers, and then I want your Social Security at age 70.
Social Security at age 70 is, where did I put it? It's about 49 grand a year.
Okay. I'm done. So give me those other two numbers, and I'm pretty sure that's what I want to do. I want to annuitize TIAA. I want to get that lump sum annuitized, and then you can start slowly converting the rest of the pre-tax into a Roth slowly. You don't have to do it all at once. It's going to be fine. You're in great shape. Paulie Walnuts, go get me some numbers. Send me some annuitization numbers, and we'll figure this out. But you're in great shape. I know that you know that. I like the idea that you're annuitizing. I'll tell you why. It will help you spend some of your money. I'm worried that if you don't have money coming in the door, like as if you were getting almost like a paycheck, that you're going to live like a miser. And that's not worth it. You've got $2 million. You're in great shape.
Yeah, and that was a key decision, because I ran the numbers in terms of, all right, if I annuitize, what's my return going to be? And if I make it to 84, which is my actuarial expected, it's about 5.7%. So that's better than a 10-year treasury. So it's like, okay, if I live long enough, I'm okay. Nobody knows what inflation is going to be like, but that's the risk that you take. And if I get hit by a bus, I'm dead. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. Although, but do me a favor. Even so, you have no heirs. You do have to have an estate document created, true. Right? Yeah. Because you just have to have at least, where's my money going? I just had somebody at work ask me this question. She's like, well, it doesn't matter. And well, someone has to settle your estate. Don't you have an idea? Well, I do have a cousin. Okay, great. Leave the cousin all the money. But just do something. Paulie, good luck to you. Thank you for giving us a holler. If you are thinking, if you're a do-it-yourselfer and you're thinking about all these different decisions that you have to make, then we would love to help you out, because Mark and I are both certified financial planners, and we love this stuff, and we love you guys. So all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. Now, while you're there, check out all the great content that lives there. Don't forget our beautiful Jill on Money live subscription service, $35 for quarterly live webinars, bonus video content, just through this year. The price is going up because all of you keep saying that we don't charge enough. So we're listening. Thanks so much. Hey, you can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen. And also lift someone up. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.